What is going on, everybody? I go by Philly Mike, host of the Philly Talk podcast, but we are here with something a little different today. I got Matt O'Leary, who hosts Just the Jets podcast on my channel, but guess what? It's not just my channel. We're also on his channel. So for the Jet fans that don't know me, I'm Philly Mike, and go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit more for the people on my channel who don't know you.
Yeah, absolutely. Really looking forward to this collab, getting it going on both streams here. I'm Matt O'Leary. I cover the Jets on YouTube. You can find me on social media at Matt O'Leary NY, talking all things Jets and NFL. Really looking forward to this game this week, Mike.
Yeah. So for my fans, they know, like the ones who ride or die with me, know that my brother is a Jets fan. And low key, during the AFC, they got nothing against me. I got nothing against the Jets. They don't really impact me. In fact, me being 32 years old, my brother being 28, he's never seen it. No, well, it doesn't matter how old you are if you're a Jet fan. You never seen the Jets beat the Eagles. Now, you had some preseason fun with us, you know what I mean? And again, I root for the Jets low key just so my brother can have something to cheer about. And it sucks that Aaron Rodgers went down as early as he did. I think the whole NFL was waiting to see, can Rodgers do a Brady-esque type thing, move to a team that has talent that was low-key only missing a quarterback per se and do big things. And it's unfortunate we didn't get to see it. Just give me I know you're probably sick of even talking about it, but how do you feel? Give me some insight now. Week 5, right? I know week 1, it was probably like, ouch. But week 5, 2 and 3, still get to see. Have you ever just gave up on Zack Wilson, or have you always said maybe behind Rodgers, maybe he can grow into something? What's your take on that situation?
Yeah, so like you were saying, complete bummer. Just like 4 plays into your season, you bring in Aaron Rodgers, and then that instantly goes away. That's a really tough pill to swallow. With Zach, man, I was hoping that he didn't have to play this year because I thought if he had any chance of reviving his career, he needed to sit. And I was critical of Zack Wilson in the first few starts, especially the game against New England in week 3. He looked like a guy who couldn't play. And it was the same story from 2022 where the Jets start off, they're 7-4 and they're rocking and rolling. And then quarterback becomes a major problem for them. They lose the last 6 games, finish their season 7-10, but the defense was balling out every week and they just couldn't do anything offensively. And that's what we saw in week 3 against the New England Patriots, division rival. The Jets haven't beaten them since 2015. So it kind of bubbled over at that point. It's like, all right, something has to give, something has to change. And then he has the best game arguably of his career against Kansas City, and they lose a tight one, and then they win against Denver. And he was okay last week against Denver, but if he plays like he has the last 2 weeks, obviously Super Bowl aspirations go out the window when Aaron Rodgers goes down, but there's no reason that this team can't be competitive the rest of the way if Zack Wilson plays, competent football like he did the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, your team is definitely set up with the run game, a defensive-minded head coach, a stout defense to, overcome some quarterback deficiencies. As long as he's not absolutely killing you, managing the game, not doing anything to cost you. He's going against the Eagles secondary that we talked about backstage a little bit. Darius Slay now misses back-to-back practices. There's no actual information on how bad a knee is per se. I didn't see him get hurt. I'm thinking it's more he's banged up. He's an older guy. Give him a little bit more time off. If there's anybody that knows the Eagles defense, it's him. It's okay. But the Eagles have allowed 11 passing touchdowns. The only teams worse are the Bears defense and that Broncos defense that you guys put up 31. Going into this game, I believe we talked about it backstage a little bit. You think you're going to run the ball. Do you see them letting Zach throw the ball 30 plus times at all?
I think that's the recipe for any sort of success, and success meaning limited, because obviously, as you meant, Eagles defense is phenomenal. That defensive line is scary good. To me, the Eagles, the 49ers, and the Jets, those are the 3 best defensive lines in football, I would say. They're deep. They get after the quarterback. Jalen Carter's been an absolute beast. But in doing my research and prep for this game, what I was noticing is they are extremely, extremely dominant against the run, but they've struggled a little bit against the pass. And, I think if the Jets are going to have any sort of success on offense, they have to throw the ball a little bit more on first down with Nathaniel Hackett. He's as the new OC, he kind of got into this run pass kind of formula where they'd run on first and second down way too much, and then you put you in third and long situations. But against the Chiefs, they threw the ball more on first down, and it was working, and the play action was working. So if they're going to have any sort of success on offense, I know, Breece Hall is a stud. He went off for 177 yards last week, but they're going to have to let Zach throw a little bit more, I think, in this game.
Yeah, I think you're going to have to. The Eagles' rush defense is stout. Fletch should be coming back, so now you're adding more firepower to an already stacked defensive line, especially where the most of our dominance coming from that interior, whether it's pass rush or stopping the run. But Hassan Reddick, since that cast been off, right, he's been, you probably haven't paid attention to us all 5 weeks, but some of Eagle Nation, a lot of our haters and national pundits are like, what happened to Hassan Reddick? He's won a couple games without a tackle, no sacks. Well, in 2 weeks, 3 sacks. As soon as that cast got off, he's been back. And plus, they started out chipping our edges because, we had Sweat double digits, Graham double digits, Hassan racked second or third in sacks last year. So that's why the interior was eating. Now it's kind of balancing out as Hassan Reddick said it would. But again, the secondary, see, I don't like to be too critical of 11 touchdowns through 4 weeks for the simple fact that it's been a rotating door back there. Bradbury has missed time. Avonte Maddox is out for the season. Reed Blankenship has missed time. We had to Justin Evans, Sidney Brown. So everybody's missed time. We have not had a same cast of crew out there all year. Now, it is worrisome that Slay missed back-to-back practices. I think it's more of a maintenance type thing. But when the Eagles do need to make a stop, when they do need to do something, we've seen them play. Like if you look at that Rams game, they only had 3 possessions in the first half. They scored on 2, punted 1. But then in that second half, Matthew Stafford, under 50% passing, a 55% passer rating, 75 yards. And this is a team who just got Cooper Kupp back, who has the second wide receiver and Puka Nacua. So I love the adjustments made. And so I think there's a high ceiling for this defense in its totality. You spoke about our pass rush. That's where we hang our hat on for now. But in this Jets game, we might be as banged up as we've been all season. And so I can't say this is the game that our pass defense comes out to play. Although when Bradbury's outside, Slay's outside, and we have a competent slot, which is, Bradley Roby, who was just playing Madden on the couch for 4 weeks. Now he's playing. We got to build that chemistry. I don't know if it's going to be this week, but we look to get Zack Wilson off his mark. And so a young guy like that, it's going to be tough to pass block, especially with your best player going down just last week.
Yeah, that was tough. So losing Elijah Vera Tucker, he's been very versatile. So they drafted him as a guard, but he's played a lot of tackle as well. So he started this season at right guard. And then after Dwayne Brown got hurt at left tackle, they moved Mekhi Becton from right tackle to left tackle, and then moved AVT, Elijah Vera Tucker, to right tackle. And he was playing really well. Tore his Achilles in Denver this past week, so he's out for the season. Max Mitchell will play in this game. I thought he played pretty well filling in for Elijah Vera Tucker at right tackle this past week. Lyle Collins visited with the team this week. They didn't sign him. They did add someone to their practice squad, but he's not going to be ready to play for this game, I don't think. He's a better run blocker than he is a pass protector. So I'm a little bit nervous about those speed guys on the edge. And for, Zack Wilson, when he struggles, it's normally when he's under pressure. He's not very good at all when he's under pressure, but if the pockets stay clean, he could give you some level of confidence. My fear for this game is pass rush is getting home. He doesn't have any time to throw, and that's where the mistakes usually come in.
Yeah, see, the Eagles are 20th in blitz percentage. We only blitz about 25% of the time. This is through 4 weeks, right? Things can change. It's still a smaller sample size to say this is exactly who the Eagles are, right? You also base your blitz packages on the quarterback, right? If it's a quarterback who's known to make things help out, to make mistakes, then you might send the dogs a little bit more like we did for Sam Howell, but he prevailed, no doubt. We're 20th in blitz rate, 25%, but 40.2% of quarterback pressure, which ranks 6th. So we send the front 4 and they get home, or they at least get the ball out of the quarterback's hand fast. Is Zach, and I didn't watch too many games. I did watch a little bit of that Broncos game. How is your offense with getting the ball out of the quarterback's hand fast? Is that have been your go-to thing? Garrett Wilson's a problem outside, but is Zach Wilson holding the ball longer than you would like to, or not? What is your take on that?
Usually that's one of his biggest problems, is he holds on to the ball too long. That's part of the reason why the sack numbers are so high. And a lot of people say, oh, see, like the offensive line's not good. And they had their struggles early on in the season, but a lot of it too is because the quarterback was holding on to the ball so long. Now, I will say, for whatever reason, the last 2 weeks against Kansas City 2 weeks ago and Denver this past week, he's done a little bit of a better job of getting the ball out quicker and going through his progressions a little bit quicker. So obviously, again, very tough defense against Philadelphia. So I don't know if we're going to see that regress, or if this is, the newer improving version of Zach Wilson. If he can go out and just get the ball out quickly, not hold on to it, not make that mistake, they're not going to ask him to really do a whole lot. But I think that's going to be the key, right? Like, this is not a team where you could afford to hang on to the ball and have these deep 7-step drops, because the reality is the defensive line is going to be in the backfield trying to make a play on the quarterback. So I think, getting the ball out to your playmakers and quickly is the play here for the Jets.
Yeah, that's what that's what all offenses did to us early in the season. Now we have done stuff adjustment wise to make them hold it a half second longer, right? Play a little bit more tighter coverage, but we do like to drop as many guys back in coverage, as we don't blitz that often. We believe in our front 4 to get there. Each game though, we've seen the quarterback hold the ball a little bit longer. It's also the fact that we started playing guys that hold the ball long. And I think that Zach Wilson could be that one quarterback that could really just allow this defense to do exactly what it wants to do, right? Like if you go back and, game log us, Mac Jones threw for 300 yards, but he was getting the ball out in 2.3 seconds. I think our defense has grown, even with the revolving door back there, to not be so, drop back, zone heavy, 8-9 yards off, playing the sticks. I think it's slowly been maturing. I would like to see that defense we saw in SoFi the second half against Zack Wilson and the Jets. It is a home game for y'all. Again, I think the matchups are going to be the Eagles offense, who's starting to get going, right? We are fifth in points per game with 28.2, and second in yards per game with 404.4. But this defense the Jets are going to put out on the field is legit. But if your offense is 3 and out, as the one game that your defense didn't look right in was against Dallas. And, I was rooting for y'all. I thought y'all had, after the Garrett Wilson touchdown, I said, maybe y'all have it. And then the wheels fell off. Sauce did drop one. He dropped a pick six in that game too. I was a little upset. But that's my thing is I'm looking at, not trying to discredit your offense, but I'm looking at the Eagles offense versus the Jets defense. And if we keep that defense on the field, with especially how long our methodical drives could be, like the Eagles are, one drive we can do a deep ball to AJ or Devontae and be on the field for a minute, but we got some 8-minute drives, 7-minute drives on our resume. And so you just suffer a 7-8 minute drive. If Zach goes out there and do a 3 and out, that's where the wheels start to fall off.
No, 100%. And I think from the Jets defensive perspective, I think the biggest thing that I'm looking for is Jalen Hurts with his legs, because the last 2 weeks, the Jets have kind of gotten burned a little bit with rushing quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes ran well and had a big run on third down to extend the drive at the end of the game. Russell Wilson in the first half had a really nice day rushing. And then finally the Jets adjusted and they used Tony Adams, one of their free safety, as a spy, and Bryce Huff, one of their speedy edge rushers, as a spy. And that seemed to do the trick. And that's not a, discredit on Jalen Hurts as a passer. I think he's, a very, very good passer, but I have a little bit more confidence with the secondary and Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed coming back, Michael Carter in the slot, where I think because of how aggressive this defensive line is, like their style of play is they pin their ears back and they try to get after the quarterback as quick as possible. I think if Hurts, like if nothing's there and he takes off and runs, that's where I think the Jets defense will struggle the most in this game.
That is demoralizing when the quarterback's back there. You're feeling good about your coverage, and then whoop, there it is, first down. Trust me, that's how we lost the Super Bowl. That big scramble from Patrick Mahomes, blah blah blah. It is what it is. How many games did DJ Reed miss? He only missed that one game, right?
Yeah, it was that one game with concussion, and he was practicing right again on Tuesday, so he should be back. And Sauce gets a lot of love, deservedly so. He's a really, really good player, but DJ Reed, I think, is one of the more underrated corners in football. Now they don't match up, so it's not going to be like Sauce Gardner's on AJ and DJ Reed's on Devonta Smith. They kind of stick to one side, so I think we'll see a little bit of both. Guys on the two bigger name wide receivers, but DJ is someone who could hold his own as well against some of the bigger receivers in football.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that. I know one. Did Sauce ever shadow, like, did the game that Reed missed, did he take it upon himself to go try to follow number one, or did he still play that one side of the field?
No, they're very stubborn with it. They will pretty much only play him on that one side. They don't really like.
You think it's a coaching thing or Sauce preference thing?
No, it's definitely a coaching thing. They've said it a few times. Their reasoning behind it is they just like to have the guys know, like, okay, this is my side. This is the only, I'm going to do every rep the same way rather than have to flip back and forth. And it kind of burnt. You talked about the Dallas game. It burned them in that Dallas game because CD Lamb was
he just stayed away from him, right? He just stayed in the slot, and on the opposite side, he stayed far away from him.
Yeah, and they got a little bit banged up in the secondary in that game, and he was just beating up on the safeties, and the Brandon Eccles, who's like their fourth corner, had to come in the game and was playing a little bit in the slot, and it wasn't working, and they refused to put Sauce there. So Jet fans are a little bit critical of it, but at the same time, like, this is a very strong defense, and more often than not, it does work. But yeah, I wouldn't expect to see Sauce, traveling with AJ Brown or anything like that.
Yeah. So he'll most likely be matched up because they play our receivers, everywhere, right? Devontae, AJ both play the X, Y. They even play the slot some reps. I did notice, looking at your Jets defense, you have been vulnerable to tight ends, right? You've been vulnerable to tight ends, and look, one thing Eagle Nation has been critical on and asking the head coach and stuff is, where's Dallas Goedert? He's a top 5 tight end in the NFL. I believe he's top 5. If you want to be critical, maybe top 6, top 7, he's up there, right? All that being said, he was MIA for the first 4 weeks. The Rams came into this game being nowhere near as dominant as you on the outside, but again, you're talking about 3-4 games. It's a small sample size. Weatherspoon and company out there for the LA did pretty good job on wide receivers. Now, both Goddard and AJ went over 100, but Goddard 8. He was a focal point. And I don't know if we go right back to the well this game, but if DJ Reed is doing his job, and again, look, I think in this league, shout out to the DBs because, the league's changed. You can't do nothing. You can barely breathe on a receiver. So I'm always going to think that an A+ receiver and an A+ cornerback, that, it's going to, the ball in the air, the odds are that the receiver is going to win, right? That being said, Dallas Goedert could be right back where he left off in SoFi. And, we've seen it. AJ has now had 3 back-to-back 100-yard games. Devontae only has 1. Devontae was the missing link last week. He had 6 yards. So I don't know who's going to be involved, and I don't think you should go into a game like this is what we want to do. You really should take what the defense gives you. That's what the best offenses do, and that's why we're a pick your poison. Hey, we could run the ball with the best too. We're looking at 300-yard games for AJ, 100 for Devontae, 100 for Goddard, 2 back-to-back 300-yard games for Jalen Hurts, but we're second in rushing or something like that. So we definitely offer a lot. What is your take on stopping the passing game and how you guys been against tight ends? Is it more of a one game kind of ruined you, or has it been something that you've seen through 4 weeks of football?
No, that's definitely something that the Jets have struggled with for a long time. And Goddard is someone as a tight end that would worry me. And, again, I love AJ Brown and Devonta Smith is a great wide receiver duo, but honestly, I would be surprised if either of them went over 100 in this game. I think Dallas Goedert would be the
Has
one.
a receiver went over 100 on you guys yet?
CD Lamb did.
The guy who ran away from Sauce.
Yeah. But other than that, like Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed have been pretty clamped down, and that's obviously they're good receivers. They're gonna get theirs, but I would think it's gonna be like somewhere in like the 60s, maybe not up over 100. We'll just based on how these games have gone for the Jets defense in weeks gone by. But I do think Dallas Goedert, especially when you get down in the red zone. I would think the Jets are going to put Quincy Williams on him, their linebacker. He's been really emerging this year, has a ton of speed, hits hard, a little reckless at times, but is really come into his own in his third season with the Jets this year. He's been much better in coverage this year too. Safeties have struggled a little bit, so I think that's why they'll put the linebacker Quincy on him.
Well, he's going to have a tall task, and I think the Eagles are going to try to get to the ground game too. I want to ask you about your rush defense real quick, but shout out to Timothy George with the $5 super chat, first one of the day. He said, "Love the content, Mike. Keep it up." Listen, Eagle Nation, definitely go check out Matt O'Leary's channel. All you gotta do is type it in the search bar. Matt O'Leary. We're live on his channel and my channel. Hit the like button wherever you're watching it. It's free. It's easy. Don't cost a thing, and it helps out. And again, win, lose, draw. If we win, go, let them know how we do. And if we lose, take it like a man. What is real quick before we get to the rush defense, what is your confidence level coming into this game, knowing that the Eagles are undefeated on the 2023 season and also undefeated in franchise history versus you guys?
Yeah, that's a wild one. Oh for 12. That's a tough one to swallow. Look, this game, even if Aaron Rodgers was playing, I think that's one that I had circled on as a tough game for the Jets. And even now without Aaron Rodgers, I still think it's a tough game. I think they're still competitive enough on defense where I think it'll be close for most of the way. I don't think they're going to roll over and die. I think I'm not expecting this game to be a blowout, and who knows, maybe I'm wrong and they lose by 20, but it's kind of a house money game. If you go into the bye week at 2-4, obviously that's not great, but coming out of the bye, they have a little bit of a more favorable schedule. They have the Giants out of the bye week, who they just look like one of the worst teams in the league right now. The Raiders and the Chargers. So you could kind of stay afloat even if you go into the bye at 2-4. So if you win, great. That just helps, even more so. But if you lose, it's really not the end of the world.
Yeah, and there is something to say about the guys in the locker room and, the guys who've been on the Jets for a while hearing this. Dang, the Eagles are undefeated, right? Like Robert Saleh, I don't know if he commented on that, but I know, listen, every team that plays the Eagles, their media, right? The New York media. Last week, it was the LA media. The week before that, it was the Washington media. They're always going to want to hear what they got to say about the brotherly shove. Now, we heard your coach comment on the brotherly shove. Said we're going to have to try to stop it. We're going to give them 11 kisses. All 11 players are going to be there. What is your take on that play in general? Do you think it's legit? You think it should be banned? What is your take on the brotherly shove real quick, actually?
Yeah, so I am for it. I think it's not an illegal formation. It works. They do it better than anyone else. And the ones who are complaining about it, like, you could just see, like, other teams don't run it as well as the Eagles do. They have one of the best offensive lines, if not the best offensive line in the sport, and they have a quarterback who squats 600 pounds. It makes perfect sense to do it. I would, if the Jets ever figured out something that worked 90 whatever percent of the time, I would want them to continue to run it, and I wouldn't want it to be outlawed. I don't think it should be. I think it's silly. The Eagles just do it better than everybody else.
Yeah, and again, it's not that far off from the quarterback sneak. Yes, you're allowing people to push right away, but if you go back, if you reviewed every single push tush now turned into the brotherly shove, I would say 70% Jalen gets over off the initial plunge, before the pushing starts. And if I went back, because I did a YouTube short today, go check it out if you didn't do it, Eagle Nation. Because, Kelsey's talking about, he thinks people might be starting to fake injuries going down the lane because they're trying to say ban it for injury, for health situation, right? Like, whatever. It don't make sense. 2 Giants guys get hurt. And now it's like, oh, the push is the defining factor of that quarterback sneak going from not that not that high of an injury risk to now it's, oh my gosh. Anyways, I watched a bunch of quarterback sneaks. And yes, when Brady and Breeze, they do the little jump over and put the hand over, it's off the first lunge. It's okay. But every other quarterback, when they go, if they don't get the quarterback sneak on the first lunge, tight ends, running backs, they're all pushing anyways. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the weird thing. Like, we're pushing from right behind. So it's literally a hand push. I've seen plays where the guys are lined up in their running back position. They're getting a full steam ahead and running into the pile. Like, so if it's the push, like the push part of it is the injury factor. Like, I think it's just a lot of smoke that they're just like, the Eagles do it too well. We've seen teams be successful with it, but we see teams not do it either. And again, I think it's, if your team ain't really executing it that good, there is an advantage to lining up all the way that tight, because now the defense knows it's a quarterback sneak. Think about the quarterback sneaks of old. When you need 1 yard and you're lined up, a quarterback sneak, you still have a wide receiver out spread. Yep. You have a running back that's 5 yards behind you. So the defense can't come all the way in tight because you can do a pitch play, this, that, and the third. When you line up how Jalen Hurts and the Eagles do it, yeah, Hurts can keep and go out like he did against Washington, but it's really exactly where we're going, just can't stop it.
Yeah, no, exactly. And we heard Robert Saleh talk about it. Jeff Ulbrich, the defensive coordinator, had a press conference today, and he was asked about it. And I was glad that neither of them were like, yeah, like this should be outlawed, because it's silly. But they're like, we're gonna have to, do our best to try to stop it. And they gave him credit because it works so well. And I'm curious to see what they come up with to try to stop it. But at the same time, like, I just don't let them get into third or fourth and short situations like that. That's a good way to do it. Don't let them get to third and short and fourth and short.
Now we've seen the Giants a couple years ago try a quarterback sneak on third. What was that? I forgot. It was at the end of the Joe Judge era. I know you're probably not. I know you're New York, but it's two different teams. But yeah, the Giants did a quarterback sneak on 3rd and 9, and Joe Judge is not coaching no more. That being said, yeah, you're right. Like, the overall complaining is so frustrating as an Eagle fan, right? Like, don't let us get to 3rd and 1. Try to stop it. This, that, in the third. But for like grown men to be out there commenting, like the NFL just put a complimation thing on their IG page, and you got Trayvon Diggs on it commenting like, that's a cheating ass play. Like, you know what I mean? Like, first of all, take care of your injury. I wish him well. Take care of your injury over there on Dallas, right? But like, grown men and 50-year-old coaches who's been around the league, right? They played when all you did was run the ball up the middle, right? Like, it's a passing league now. Just a general complaint about it is like, really? It's ridiculous. I'm glad you and your coaching staff at least handled it well. And of course, you got to say if Hurts is going to go up the middle, we're going to put all 11 hats on him. He ain't saying nothing viciously. I do like Robert Saleh. When we were looking for a coach, low key, he was one of the guys that I made a video on. Like, I want him. Like, Nick Sirianni came out of nowhere. I didn't know who he was. I'm not gonna front and act like I wanted Brian Daboll. I wanted Robert Saleh. Like around that time, Daboll didn't come out that same year. He came out the next year, but there was a possibility after the end of the season when he was doing good with Josh Allen. All that being said, I like Saleh, and I have nothing against the Jets except for every 4 years when we play him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and kind of same thing with me and the Eagles. I'm not a Giants fan. I get the rivalry there, but the Jets, they always lose to the Eagles, and that part's frustrating. But like you said, they play once every 4 years. Obviously I want the Jets to win this week, and as you want the Eagles to win this week, but there's really no hate for that Philadelphia team.
Facts. To your rush defense, how has that been? I know, like we talked about, your confident level, and DJ Reed, Sauce Gardner is through the roof. Not saying that we can't get the ball passing, but you're confident in that. How about your rush defense? Because Swift has a couple 150 plus yards on his resume. The Eagles in general have 200 plus yard rushing games on their resume. We're second in the league in rushing. How is your rush defense, and how comfortable are you stopping not only Jalen Hurts, which you talked about, because Mahomes and Wilson got you there, but just the traditional, agent zero up the middle, off tackle, stuff like that?
Yeah, I think that's a strength of the Jets defense when everything's clicking, because you have guys like Quinnen Williams on the interior of that defensive line, who he's a great pass rusher, but he is so good in the run as well. Al Woods they brought in this year from Seattle, who's, a bigger interior guy who can clog up the middle of the field. And then CJ Mosley and Quincy Williams at linebacker, they fly around and make plays. But if they get to the second level, that's where things become a little bit of a concern because the safeties miss a lot of tackles. That's my biggest gripe with the Jet safety duo right now, Jordan Whitehead and Tony Adams. And Sauce, for as good as he is in coverage, he's fantastic. Tackling, just for whatever reason this year, he was great at it last year. Just for there were 2 games this year where he missed a bunch of tackles. So I'm hoping that reels in a little bit. But with the defensive line and linebackers, that's the strength of that grouping. But if for whatever reason that they get through and get to the second level, you might be seeing a big play.
Yeah, the Eagle fans, we love to run the ball. I think we all are a little if we had to look at one thing their team ain't doing well, it's the red zone offense, right? A stat came out though, 1 in 6 in the red zone when trying to score when Kenneth Gainwell's on the field, 6 of 9 when Swift's on the field, and it comes down to because, if Jalen Hurts throws an incomplete, it's not the running back's fault, regardless who's on the field. It comes down to play calling and situational because Kenny G is not as good as Swift on first and second down. And so, when you get in that tight red zone, first and second down are important. So you have that third and short. We've been faced with a lot of 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8 in the red zone, and we've been settling for field goals. Way too many. Last year, we were 34th in field goals attempted. Last. No, yeah. Second to last. This year, we're first. Now, yes, we're making all our attempts, right? He's kicking it from 50, he's kicking it from 20. It don't matter where Jake the Make lines up. However, when your offense is just to see time and time again drive stall, and I don't know the exact numbers, but I know the Jets red zone defense got to be top 7-ish.
They're
correct?
top. Yeah, they're 3rd in the league in red zone defense. Something that they're very good at is I just mentioned they are prone at times to giving up a big play in the run game, but when they get in the red zone, they really clamp it down, and they're good at getting teams to settle for 3, and that's how they kind of stay in these games. They don't let up a lot of touchdown drives. I think they're also 3rd in the league in touchdown drive percentage against as well. So.
Yeah. Real quick, shout out to Nelson Lucero for the super chat. I saw you super chat me at early in the morning today, but sometimes as the hours go by, when we went live, that super chat wasn't available for me to pull up. But Nelson, appreciate the super chat. You put the number 1 sticker. I don't know if it's for the number 1 Eagles, the number 1 record. Well, tie with the Rams, but shout out to you. Appreciate it. We do normally do the super chats on here as they come, and sometimes answer some of the stuff that y'all got to say. So this is gonna be something I'm gonna now really look at. I'm gonna talk about it pregame. I'm gonna talk about it all the way up into the game because I still want everything to go according to plans like we've been doing it, but Eagles focus is on personnel, play calling, and just getting it done in the red zone. And now when you're trying to fix something, I don't know about you, I don't want to go against, when you go against a really bad we need to fix the red zone. Say we're playing blah, blah, blah team that's 31st in the red zone and you look good in it. Is it you or is it the team you're going against? So something that is a focal point every single time the last 2 weeks, Brian Johnson or Nick Sirianni got on the podium, it's been asked about the red zone. We ranked 27th in red zone offense. 5th in points. That could be up there in the top 2 if we would just start scoring. So that is something I want to see. Hopefully we put up a lot of touchdowns.
Yeah, that's the thing, but that would tell you that it is actually improving. If you're going up against a team that's top 3 in touchdown drives allowed and red zone defense, then that, to me, that would be proving like a legitimate test. So if the Eagles do have success in the red zone, that'd be a really good sign for them.
What does your team do at the coin toss? If your team wins, do you know, are they more liable to, or more along the lines going to kick it or receive it? What does your team normally do?
Yeah, defer. They like to put that defense on the field first.
And do you agree with it? Is that a Matt O'Leary preference too?
That is, yeah, I'm glad that they do. I like getting the ball to start the second half.
Yeah,
And
I love that.
yeah, one of the things that I always easier said than done, but I love when you're able to score points right before the half and then you double up, you get the ball to start the second half. To me, and when it's the strength of your team, right? Like getting the ball, receiving, and then the offense goes 3 and out. It's like great. Like what good is that? But the defense is the strength of this team. So I'm completely fine with them, getting put on the field first.
Yeah, right now I would say the offense is the strength of our team overall. I do think this defense, once it finds itself, and by finding itself, stop getting hurt in the secondary. Once that happens, I do think this Eagles team is going to be better than better than a lot of people think. Along the lines of you're the third worst team in passing touchdowns, and Mac Jones threw for 300 and blah blah blah. I think that is based on if you look at game logs, you're going to see. Dang, the Eagles, you're doing your due diligence for this game. You're like, Eagles a little suspect. And yeah, we might be still because of the continuing hurt, but there's going to be a team that comes to Philly thinking we're sweet against the pass and we're going to lock up because we're going to finally be at full health. And they'll slowly start to see that. All that being said, I'm with you. I'm a defer guy. I want the ball because at the end of the day, having a lead in the NFL is cool, but keeping it is even better, right? And all that being said, I'd rather play my best ball in the second half over the first half and vice versa and all that stuff. And last week, I thought we almost were going to get killed by that. Rams only have 3 possessions, but they scored with like 30-something seconds left of the half, and they were getting ball to start the third quarter. So they took the lead. I was like, wow, we controlled this whole game, and we're about to go in a half down by 3. But Jalen Hurts and company got down in 30 seconds and scored, and then we played great defense in the second half. But yeah, that's something I like to hold my hat on. Like you, get points end of the half and or at least try to get points to start the drive. If I had to ask you though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Give me the scenario give me something that Philly does horribly wrong, or you could see going your way for the Jets to get this win. Do you know the spread on this?
7 points.
7 points on the road. So what do you think has to happen? Does it have to be like you have to win the turnover battle? Do the Eagles have to have a couple mistakes? Like, give me a scenario. Not saying you think that we're going to do that, but if the Jets win, it's because it was this kind of game. Something like this happened. Give me a scenario in which the Jets upset and give the first loss to the undefeated Eagles.
So something the Jets defense has done well and against very good quarterbacks is create turnovers. Against Josh Allen in week 1, they turned him over 4 times. Against Patrick Mahomes on Sunday Night Football, they turned him over twice. Should have been 3 times, but the penalty at the end of the game, the controversial hold or no hold call.
Oh yeah, listen, they screwed you, bro. They screwed y'all. He's starting to get them Tom Brady calls. That's what it is. It's Pat Mahomes. They gonna call it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So frustrating, but that would have been the 3rd turnover against Patrick Mahomes. So Jalen Hurts, he has 4 interceptions in 5 games, I believe, right? 4. So I think he's someone who if you get the pressure there and get a turnover or 2. And then I also think you need to be more aggressive with the play calling. They were very conservative this past week, and it worked because they gave Breece Hall the ball 22 times. He ran for almost 180 yards and had a 70-yard touchdown. I don't think that's happening this week. I'm not saying completely abandon, Breece Hall because he's too good of a player. You got to get him his touches. But I think, Zach is going to have to throw a little bit more on early downs. I would be looking to try to hit some things over the middle of the field, whether it's like Garrett Wilson on a crosser, or he's had some nice chemistry with Tyler Conklin, the tight end, the last few weeks. So I'd be trying to get the passing game going a little bit. I'm not throwing him like 45, 50 times, but I think you need to be a little bit more balanced. Somewhere around like 35 passing attempts, I think, is the number. And yeah, I think it's going to be tough to pull off a upset win against the Philadelphia Eagles. But if the defense can create turnovers and you get a good Zack Wilson game with them being a little bit more aggressive, I think that's a way where you can maybe pull an upset.
Yeah, look, you're gonna need some good luck on your side. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, like if there was a game that we end up making the mistakes. Like, let me go back to that Washington game, week 8 last year, where we had a couple, weird turnovers, ugly turnovers. And, y'all controlled the time of possession, kept our offense off the field, still attacked us when they did it running the ball. But again, right now, 2 DNPs, 2 did not practices for Darius Slay. We're already beat up in the secondary. You got a guy who's only been in Philly for a week and a half, going to be asked to play heavy minutes. You lose Slay, now that means you bring back Josh Jobe on the field, who's got exposed a little bit. All that being said, Zack Wilson is someone that, I haven't studied him as much as you, and I've seen some throws, but I've also seen, the bloopers of Zack Wilson, and I know he could be rattled, and going against a bad secondary could improve his odds. However, going against a pass rush like this, to a guy who holds the ball, to a guy who's prone to taking sacks, to a guy who is just he doesn't got the body of an NFL quarterback, right? Like, the Eagles not only got a great pass rush, these are some big, like, we were throwing Matthew Stafford around. Like, I think that big sack from Jalen Carter kind of ruined Matthew Stafford too, because he wasn't the same. He missed a couple open guys in the second half. All that being said, I think the Eagles play their game. It's going to be very hard for the Jets to win. I don't think we're going to be walking down the park. Eagles been great 20-20. We're not good in the red zone, going against the third best red zone in defense, but we've been really good. I mean, like, we get the ball, we move 20-20. That's why we averaging 400 plus yards a game. I do think, it's a low scoring game at half. I think if we end up scoring more than 30, it's because it's a game that got away from y'all, where your offense made your defense too gassed in the second half. You know what I mean? Where it's like,
I'm with you there.
The Dallas game all over again.
Yeah, the Jets have done a pretty good job of holding some pretty good offenses to, respectable numbers. Like, they held Mahomes to 24 points. They held Josh Allen under 20 points. The Dallas one, like you said, it got out of hand because of how bad the offense was. And the defense, it was a uncharacteristically poor game from the defense. I don't think it gets to 30. I'm thinking like a 24-14, 24-17 kind of game would be my guess. But I just think this defense is gonna, play, tough. I think they're a tough defense to begin with, but I don't like the matchup for this Jets offense against the Philly defense, because, as you mentioned, I know the secondary is banged up, but that pass rush and the rush defense is going to make it really a big challenge, I think.
Yeah, and real quick, the chat's asking again, who's playing for Vera Tucker again on the left side?
Yeah, Max Mitchell. He was a 4th round rookie from last year. He came in and started a few games at the beginning of last year, and then he had some blood clot issues, so he missed like the second half of the season, but he was okay filling in. And when he came in for Elijah Vera Tucker at right tackle against Denver, he was very, very good in the run game. He let up 1 pressure, but his strength is as a run blocker. He's fine as a spot starter, which is what the position he's in now. I don't know if I'd feel comfortable with him as my 17 game starting right tackle, but next to him at right guard, they have a rookie, Joe Tippmann, who they took in the 2nd round, who's been absolutely crushing it. So hopefully, that he helps contain on that right side. But yeah, Max Mitchell's coming in for AVT this week.
Yeah, so a guy who you feel comfortable spot starting, is going to have a rough side. You saying right side, so that should be on Hassan Reddick's side, and he's been crushing it since that cast came off. 2 games, 3 sacks. When one thing I know Eagle fans are going to be upset about, and again, if I think we're going to all be nervous if we see tomorrow that big play slays a DMP. You know what I mean? Yes, context is going to be, dang, if Zack Wilson ends up throwing the ball for like a 2-7, if Zack Wilson looks good, Eagle fans are going to be still upset about the pass defense. I'll be upset, but again, I just still think like I can't fully judge this Eagle secondary until I see, like, if you're telling me this is who's good, if this is going to happen for 17 weeks, okay, then I start to believe this is who we are. But these guys are either going to eventually get, like, because it's a little knick-knack injury. So like I believe eventually things are going to start to turn around, and if there is going to be a game here, game here, miss, I'd rather it be in the beginning of the season, not the end of the season. So, it's a 17-week season. It's not like the NBA, the NHL, where every game matters, but still slow and steady wins the race. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think eventually, right? Like, I think that defense settles down. And same with the Jets. I think they're ranked like somewhere around middle of the pack. But I think these are two defenses that end up, when it's all said and done, that are, well in the top 10. But injuries are a big factor right now. And, if Slay isn't good to go, that, not saying it would be comfortable, like, oh my God, the Jets are going to win this game, but it might have a little bit more of a chance to try to move the ball, because obviously he's a great player. And, whoever they would put in there in that spot is not going to be up to the same par that Darius Slay is. So, obviously we'll see there. I guess I had a question for you, actually. It's something that I saw going around a lot of, Jets fans and just people in general who are trying to talk themselves into a win for this Jets team. Do you think it could be a trap game in the sense that you have Miami the week after and like looking ahead to that game in a sense?
Yes, that is the clear definition of a trap game, is when the team that you play is definitely winnable. And not only, again, trap games to me, like a lot of people say trap games, but I think the real definition of a trap game is when you play a team that is, on paper and record wise subpar to you. And then, but the next week is a team that is equivalent to you that you're really looking for. So not, people say Jets a trap game because, they never beat us and they might play up and we might overlook them. I think the only way we overlook them is because we're nervous about the Dolphins game. That being said, it's weird to say it, but Jalen Hurts, like, he's only been in the league so long, but the dude is really about keeping the main thing. And I do think when you have that type of leadership in there, a guy like Nick Sirianni, it gets old, it gets tiring hearing it, but he's always about, I don't know about tomorrow. I'm only about today. It's the same thing with injuries and stuff. We're asking them who's going to start, Nakobe Dean or Nicholas tomorrow. I don't got to deal with that today. We got to worry about the now and now. So I think from coach to quarterback, you preach that. But again, I do think there's something along that New York going to the turnpike where it's like, man, they're 12-0 against us. If we come out and let our guard down, and again, a game like this where boom, a fumble, a scoop and score, something like that, you're up 10-0. Now your crowd gets into it. There's going to be Eagle fans there because it's too close.
Yeah.
And we traveled. We took over SoFi. Like they were singing Fly Eagles Fly. Like the Rams had to switch their snap count. The Rams at home in LA. But the Jets fans do show out too. You know what I mean? Probably a lot less like hard body. If Aaron Rodgers was here, like, see, I really thought at this point, because me and my brother had a bet and everything, I let him out the bet already because, Jets fan, I already felt bad. But like, I had a feeling that y'all would have been a top dog team in the AFC. We would have been a top dog team here, and it would have been a battle of some. I wouldn't even be thinking about the Dolphins because y'all were supposed to be like the first legit challenge for us. You know what I mean? Well, I mean, I credit the Rams. Bucks are playing decent football. I'm not saying them teams are bad, but like this was the game. Like this is where it gets serious, and now, it's not. But 13-0. Has that been done in any other? Does any other team have that many wins over another team? Like,
I don't think so. That's a weird one that like I've never seen it before. It's because they don't play each other a lot, and like,
yeah, and that's why it's such a small. You're talking about in the history of a franchise. You've been y'all story of franchise. Joe Namath. What is it? Was that the second Super Bowl?
Super Bowl III, yeah, 1960.
Super Bowl III. So y'all been around for a minute. We've been around as when the Super Bowl era came, right? Like we're talking about 57 years. Franchise 57, 60 years, and we only played y'all 12 times because of the 4 years AFC. And that's just crazy because the thing is, we not only 12 times, but so many different eras we played you in. And it's like, y'all didn't get us once. And I always talk to my brother about that. I used to argue about it more when you had when y'all were going to AFC championships and the Mark Sanchez, the Rex Ryan, when y'all were good and we were kind of finding our way. My brother was like, hi, we're better than you. I'm like, y'all still never beat us though. You know what I mean? That's when I used to hold it over him. Now I don't really throw it in his face because I'm like, I just want the Jets to be decent. And every time I feel like y'all have a chance,
Yeah, I'm trying to think back to years where I thought the Jets and Eagles played, and I thought they'd have a 2011 really just jumps out. That was a tough game. The Eagles blew out the Jets in that game in 2011. That was a tough one, if I remember right. And then 2015 against Ryan Fitzpatrick when he was the Jets quarterback, I thought they would have a good chance in that game. But the last few times, I mean, in 2019, that was the Jets started Luke Falk, I think, against the Eagles. That was a rough one. And then 2 years ago, the Jets lost to Gardner Minshew. And I think that was 2021. That was Wilson's rookie year.
Yeah. Well, see, now we might be playing you guys a little bit more often than every 4 years because of the 17-game season. So you'll have more opportunities to get at us. I don't think you're going to get at us this week, though.
No, this week is tough. But you're right. Totally different with Aaron Rodgers. And I don't know how much you saw the Monday night, the home opener. The place was going absolutely berserk. And just to see, the unfortunate injury and the fans are still into it. The atmosphere was great against Kansas City for Sunday Night Football, but there's going to be a lot of Eagles fans in the building. They travel well, and it's really close. But I'm just hoping for a good game. I would love to see an upset win. But even if the Jets don't win this game, like I've been trying to tell my viewers and anyone I talk to, it's not an end of the world thing. You can still get your season back on track in the second half. When it lightens up a little bit after the bye.
Facts. Real quick. Shout out to my guy Dave Dust with the $20 banger. He said 11 kisses for Hurts. Bulletin board material. Listen, it is bulletin board material, but look, and again, I say this as respectfully as I can. Do we really need bulletin board material to beat the Jets?
I didn't really take it as bulletin board. I didn't think that was bulletin board material. I thought it was more like we just got to get 11 guys to get to them.
To rally, yeah.
Yeah, to get there, but
there's been a lot worse said. We had barstool people wishing injury on Jalen Hurts due to a brotherly shove. It's been ridiculous out here.
Yeah, no, it's tough. And in their comments, both Salah and Ulbrich to the media today were giving the Eagles a lot of credit for how good they are at it. So I didn't take it as a negative slight. Again, I'm not an Eagles fan, so I don't know. But I don't think
we take everything. You say hi to us a little wrong. We're like, did you hear how he said hi to us? Did you hear how he said hi to us? I think he meant something different. You think he told us to shut up? No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, man, I still think there's a lot I want to see in this game for people just joining in because we got over 440 people in here. My phone just died. Third in red zone defense for the Jets, 27th in red zone offense for the Eagles. I think this is what changes the Eagles. Eagles, look, we start scoring in the red zone. Now we're being talked about like the Niners. It's a big difference up there. That's what we got to do for sure. We're right around an hour, 53 minutes. Hey, Matt O'Leary, I appreciate you for coming through. You got any last takeaways or things you want to say? Eagles, Jets related, anything?
Yeah, we'll close out with this. I think
and can I get a score prediction?
Yeah, so I am gonna say I'll go 24-14 Eagles, but if the Jets are to pull off an upset, these are what's gonna have to happen. They're gonna have to create turnovers.
How many? Give me the magic number to win this game. We need to settle for, is it a three-piece? A three-piece?
I was gonna say 2. I think 2 turnovers, maybe like you mentioned, like a scoop and score, pick 6, a big special teams play, like something like that to really get you in this game. And they're gonna have to be a little bit more aggressive. But I just want to see some tangible progress here. They got back in the win column against Denver, a much needed win. Put up 30 points in this one. Keep it tight, and let's see if we can go into the bye week with some nice momentum. That'd be good.
I like it. So you straight said, if I had a bet, my pocket, not my heart, 24-14 Eagles. However, that magic number 2, a scoop and score interception, something like that can change it. There's going to be Jets fans there. They'll be happy. Listen, I know Jet fans at the stadium will be thinking if they get up 7-0, 10-0, they be thinking, okay, we need to stop this. No more 12-0. We need to end this streak. And so that could give them momentum for sure. Real quick, shout out to D Dragon. Just got here, but sorry about Sunday, bro. Think he's trying to say, sorry for the game's over. Like, hey, let's not get too confident. You know what I mean? He got the 88 jersey on. Let's see if Dallas Goedert can do his thing versus the Jets defense. We talked about that a little bit. Listen, if you're just getting in here, you can always watch it back on the replay. Hit the like button. It's free. It's like, the nicest thing you could do for a YouTuber is hit the like button, watching the videos first and hitting the like is the second thing. You know what I'm saying? And it's free. Super chats cost money. Shout out to y'all, but the like button is free. He said 24-14. I'm going to go 20. We averaged 28. This is a really good defense. I'm going to go 28-17. I think it's going to be one of them games where we're going to play some zone late. Wilson's going to, please Jets fans there as he, drives down and scores. And I think it's going to be really close. Halftime. I think we pull away in the third. Yeah. Y'all get some comeback in the fourth quarter. I'm going to go 28-17. It's 11-point victory, but, not as drastic. I think, Jet fans are going to be on their edge of their seat come the first half. 28 points. And here's the thing. We don't kick no field goals this time. Every time we get into the red zone, we score 4 touchdowns, no field goals, 28. That's going to be really hard to do. I'm pretty much not realistic with that. I would love to see that, but that's my take there. Again, I have a soft spot for the Jets. Jet fans that are watching, my brother is a Jet fan. We're not from Philly, but we're right outside of Philly, still the PA area. I don't know what happened to him for to be a Jets fan, but he's a Jets fan, a Heat fan. And I don't even know who he likes in baseball, but because we're not biggest baseball fans, but Jets and Heat, I don't really know all that is. I'm Eagles Sixers, and Sixers suck.
Yeah, that one makes sense in the same city there with the Sixers and the Eagles. But all right, I'll take it. Any Jet fans are welcome with me.
Yeah, I'll definitely send my brother your way. If he might even be subscribed. I might mention you, but yeah, I watch him on YouTube. I'm not sure. All that being said, I appreciate your time, and I can't really say good luck on Sunday because I want the dub like you want the dub, but hey, may the best man win.
Absolutely. Good stuff, Philly Mike. Good luck with the rest of the way as well.
Appreciate y'all. Until next time, y'all know what time it is. We out. Peace.